So once again, welcome, Arik.
Thank you very much. Thank
We are
you for having me.
continuing our talk. Tell us, how are you doing? How have been the last weeks of yours?
It's going good, going well. Like everyone, sometimes we have our ups, sometimes we have our downs, but that's life. Believe that we have to try to accept everything lovingly and with appreciation, with gratitude, and yeah. So that's life.
Ups and downs. Yes.
Yeah, that's the nature of life. But the idea is to develop certain inner quality that is beyond those ups and downs, and also some kind of right attitude towards those things. So the attitude of gratitude, for example, for if I believe that if we expect life to be up all the time, we'll be disappointed and smashed very, very fast.
And what if we expect life to be down all the time? Like there are people.
Again, we just need to understand that life is a changing process, but we can develop something stable within us, that while we experience changing, this inner core becomes unaffected. And again, it's not black and white, because I cannot say it about myself that I have developed in the inner core that is never affected by anything that is happening outside. But it's a process, and then so we definitely can crystallize something within ourselves that even during the ups and during the downs, that will be there. We'll be there and we'll be stable.
We can maybe refer to it as the best version of ourselves.
Yeah, you could say that. It has many names. We might call it inner awareness. We might call it inner remembering. We might call it the best version of ourselves, awareness. Yes, but the idea is that doesn't matter what happens, what is happening outside. There is something some kind of an inner core there, and this inner core gets developed by daily practice. It might be organized practice, such as meditation, but in addition to that, it should be practiced during our daily life.
Let us describe this a little bit more in detail. So, can we summarize it like there is an outer appearance on the surface that can change, but the inner core is remaining the same, and the inner core is like the source for the change?
Yes, that would be the ideal, but unfortunately, if a person does not perform if a person doesn't live spiritual life, or a kind of life where they use proper tools in order to develop this inner core, then most of the chances the person will just be affected by everything. We can see many people. They might be very, very happy 1 minute, and then they hear something in the news, and they become sad, and they're totally identified with that. So the idea, the wisdom, is to build this core that is based on non-identification, because otherwise we are like marionettes, like a puppet in the hands of whatever happens. Someone said something, we are sad. Someone else said something else, we are happy. No inner core.
I presume that the inner core is always present. It is the thing that survives all the change. And you said just now that in order to return back to it, or in order to interact with it, we need to live a spiritual life.
Yes. We need to, you can see it like that it is always present. There are different spiritual teachings, but it doesn't really matter, in my opinion. Like you can see that it is always present, and we need to to establish our contact with that. That's one way. And now there are another traditions who say that it should be crystallized by certain efforts in a certain direction. So it's like a crystal that grows. But the bottom line is that certain work of consciousness and certain work of awareness should be done in order to establish contact with this inner core that might be more stable.
Yes, that's exactly the point. So different cultures have different names. I agree totally on that. And therefore every culture has also their own words, which tools they use in order to find the access to that core. Now, the definition of spiritual life itself is very interesting here, because it already implies that we are listening to something that is invisible. What I want to ask is, if there is a always changing appearance, a form on the outside when we want to change our life to the best, in the beginning we may have the idea that the better life, the better version of myself is when I have money, for example. And a few years later we understand, no, actually the better version of myself is when I have a family. Or 5 years later we may understand, okay, the better version now is when I, let's say, lead a spiritual life. What I want to say is to ask, what is the connection with this inner core that remains always the same, and it is invisible for the eyes of the human being? It is to live a spiritual life. Other people use other words. I know as well. But what kind of action is that? That's what I want to ask. What kind of action is someone needing to make in order to connect this outer appearance with the inner appearance?
Yeah, so last time we mentioned few things, because that basically was the subject of our last conversation, and I emphasized few points. The first point was lightening up your diet and moving in the direction of less obstructive foods, such as raw foods. And after, if a person is starting from standard American diet, let's say, the journey would be something like going into the vegetarian and vegan realm. After that, a clean vegan, like whole food vegan. After that, raw foods. After that, maybe fruitarian. After that, maybe liquidarian, like living on liquids. But the journey of lightening up your diet, very important journey, and also introduction of fasting in life, abstinence from food for certain periods of time, very important. So that's one part of this process, in my opinion, that puts you, it just cleans the system, and it raises your vibration, so you have more chances to connect with this inner core.
Let me sum it up shortly. Because I want to come to the question, but I want that the listeners have an overview over these topics, and let me sum it up a little bit. So yes, we have mentioned last time a lighter diet, so food. Life purpose or calling was the second one, so the calling of life. The third one was mindfulness.
Exactly.
And the last one was breathing and emotions.
Breathing and emotions. Yeah, but in my opinion, it is included in the subject of mindfulness. Like what I was talking in the last time as additional part of changing life is social skills and communication with like-minded people, establishing your community, whether it's maybe the ideal would be face-to-face communication, but in many cases because we are dispersed all over the world, the light workers, we just need to use whatever connections we have, including the connection over the internet. Yeah, communication with like-minded people, everything that is related to breathing, emotion. You could call it mindfulness or meditation. You could include it under this headline.
Yes, I felt when I was rehearing again our last talk, I felt within myself that it wasn't breathing, it was social skills, but I just forgot it, so to say. Okay,
yes.
And now my question is, for sometimes it is complicated. So I want to try to find an answer to that question, and maybe I'm not formulating it correctly. These are the major steps, the functions of the body that can lead us to the change that we desire. And my question is, how do you start this process in the best? Because, you know, sometimes it's hard. For example, when I want to try to fast one day, sometimes it is very hard to start this new habit, start this new lifestyle, maybe to enter the mindfulness. Maybe someone is waiting for the good circumstances. So I want to ask, what are the necessary, maybe circumstances, or what is the motivation or the starting conditions when someone is going on starting this journey?
That's a very good question. So I think it's very, very different for everyone. For some people, even subjects like health or weight loss might be motivating factors. And but usually after that, usually even people who start, for example, their raw foods journey, thinking about weight loss or about health, general health, usually after that, because their vibrations get higher, usually they also start being interested in other related things. So it doesn't really matter. Like in terms of practical strategy, I would recommend just to, so first of all, I think each one needs to find their own motivation, whatever motivates them. Basically, the main motivator is just people feel unhappy. People feel unhappy, and each one of us wants to be happy. So so I can just say that lightening up the diet is one of the parts of the path to happiness, in my opinion. So if that's good motivation for someone, that's great. If they are more motivated by weight loss or good health, that's fine too. But in the practical terms, it is really, in my opinion, the good strategy would be to adopt the principle of compensation. So on one hand, you leave something behind, some kind of foods, for example, but you don't just leave it behind. You compensate yourself by something else. It's either by the idea that now you can have fruits, but you can eat as much as you want. For me, it was good motivation when I transitioned to raw foods about 6 years ago. So when I was in my transitioning journey, so I knew that on one hand I left cooked foods behind, but on the other hand, the compensation was that I did like fruit and I could eat them as much fruit as I wanted. Okay, that's a good compensation factor. Another compensation factor would be just to engage in some kind of an activity that you couldn't or that you didn't. So now you're saying to yourself, okay, so today I'm eating raw foods. Okay, it might be, I might feel a little bit missing other kinds of foods and flavors, but I will compensate it by some kind of other activity that I like. So this kind of compensation thing, that you always compensate, you don't go to this realm of just getting rid of something. That's a very good strategy. I found it a very good strategy, at least during the first period while you are transitioning. You have to really compensate yourself for different things that you are leaving behind.
This is one of the advices which we have mentioned last time on our last talk. As I was listening, rehearing this last talk, I found that we have been given a lot, actually, many different, very interesting tools, which I encounter in my life today as well in my work. And I would add, and on top of what you said right now, is that the one who starts the journey understands where it is going to and the steps which he is going through. So, in other words, a general understanding. The topics which we are going to discuss here, food, life purpose, mindfulness, social skills, these are like certain steps which we will be going through on that kind of journey. And if someone understands what he is going to face, what he is going to live through, this gives him the motivation also to go further, to go beyond. So, in other words, just to understand what we are doing it for, the understanding of a bigger picture. This, I think, is also very important in the beginning, right before you start this journey.
Yes, you need at least a limited understanding, at least understanding from your reality right there. But you also have to expect that, you know, as you proceed, you will understand more and more things. For example, again, a person might start this journey because of health reason or even weight loss reason. But then, and then they start to lighten up their diet, and then they go into the vegan realm. But then once they proceed with the vegan realm, they start being exposed to different ideas about animal cruelty, about cruelty towards animals, about energetic implications of eating meat and things like that. So it starts appealing to them, those ideas, even though before that they might not have thought about those ideas. So, and then after that, you know, as they proceed, maybe the idea of raw foods will appeal to them. So it's just something starts opening up in the mind when you embark on this journey.
Beautiful. I'm so happy you are really compensating my lack of ability to put it into words. When the journey starts, we will gain new experience, and this new experience will give us new understanding of the steps which we are going through, of the experience which we are going through. And then we may come up with the idea that now we should do things. So yes, we gain new experience and the journey changed. So this is very important, to be prepared also for that kind of chaos. And then if we jump to the end of the process, so the imaginary result, when we actually have so in the beginning we had an idea that motivated us to go that path, but in the end, when the change took place, which we cannot deny, in the reality, what is, maybe there are like global change that people will face definitely. Is there something that is very important to be aware of?
You know, I consider it to be the endless journey because and I actually I had a kind of communication with a woman recently, and we were discussing it, and she asked me whether I am still on the search or something like that. So I told her that I personally consider it to be endless because the God is endless, creation is endless, this depth of all those divine realms is endless. So you can always go deeper and deeper and deeper. So for me, it's, you know, it's a journey. You discover things, and I don't know, maybe at some point there is certain end result, such as enlightenment or something like that. But for me, like from my point of view now, it's just the endless process of discovery and of digging deeper and deeper and deeper and discovering many things about yourself, about different laws that govern the universe, about even developing your ability to see the wonders of the world, to refine your vibrations, you know, to be in tune more with life. So it's endless. There will always be something new to discover, and that's the beauty of it.
That's what I wanted to say also. Isn't it beautiful if it never repeats itself and never ends? Then the journey that we have picked for ourselves right now is
exactly,
beautiful.
Absolutely, and you discover many things. For example, even again, you know, for example, you take a person and then you coach this person. So you start with this person exactly where they are, like their reality level. If they want to if they say, okay, I want to lighten up my diet in order to lose weight. Okay, you don't argue. You don't say, okay, yeah, no, but you're embarking on this journey to be enlightened finally. No, you start exactly where they are. You might help them see more clearly and define their goals. But also you will know like that if this person persists on the path, something will start opening up in their minds, and then a few months later they might come to you and say to you, okay, I feel that like I'm more and more interested in raw foods and not just in being vegan, or I'm kind of interested in meditation, so how to meditate, could you show me, or something like that. So yeah, so it's a very interesting process.
This is definitely one thing that we have to be, that we will definitely face, which is that one game may end, but the experience of life will always continue.
Yes, yes,
exactly. This is definitely that some people may be thinking that this is the core result. When I get that result, I'm successful in life. I will get approval by other people, by my parents, by my friends, or something like this. But what actually happens is that we are doing it for ourselves, and afterwards we have simply the chance to create another game for ourselves. So this is an ability that people have within them to create this, how should I say, this miracle that is called life.
Yes, yes, exactly. And it's important to remember that by changing ourselves, we are changing our environment. So if we have kind of living our surroundings in non-optimal state, I think the very healthy viewpoint on it would be just to start with ourselves, to change ourselves. Yes. If we are not satisfied with our family life, our spouses, our work, you just start changing. You start bringing this light inside, and then then things just start changing outside as well.
The last thing that I want to add, we don't need to go into details into that, is that you definitely become also more sensitive. It is simply due to the reason that you mentioned right now, is because you pay more attention to yourself. So yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, now I suggest we dive into details, and I want to remind people that this is the second talk. Last talk we have been speaking a lot, we started to speak a lot about food in the first place, and then we point our attention to mindfulness. And the core sentence that remained in my memory for today is that mindfulness is the foundation for every change that is going to happen, because it helps us not to be distracted by something good or something bad. It helps us to stay balanced. So can you please point this importance of mindfulness out once again with your words?
Yes, absolutely. You see, usually people who are not engaged in mindfulness practices, usually how does their day look like? Their day look like just endless ups and downs, as they're constantly being affected by things. For example, something happens, oh, I like it, it's great. But then I hear something else, no, that sucks. But then something happens again, oh, I'm bored. That's how their day looks like. And this kind of existence is pretty shallow. It's not deep. It's pretty shallow because you become kind of a puppet. You just there is almost no you there, because you just and then you start for example, you hear about mindfulness, and this idea appeals to you that you can actually really start observing what is happening to you and try not to identify, to develop this inner observer, or to get in touch with this inner observer, however you want to call it. And then you start practicing. You start practicing, let's say, formal meditation of sitting down and observing your breathing for 15 minutes every day. For example, breathing in, breathing out. Okay, let's say that might be one of the initial practices, or whatever. So there are many mindfulness practices, but and then you start seeing. Okay, so first of all, you start noticing how the monkey mind works, and how it jumps from one thing to another. And then, even though you want to concentrate and to be mindful of breathing, it's very difficult because you are always thinking about things, But then it becomes better and better, And then you find yourself in the situation where for the first time you can see thoughts passing in your head, but at the same time you remember that you are thinking, or you are aware of yourself watching those thoughts, like as if you were watching clouds. And I remember that first time I had this experience when I started meditating. It was, I guess, more than 20 years ago, 25 years ago, something like that, maybe even more. So no, a little bit less than 25 years. Anyway, so it was such a great. I remember this experience when you, for the first time, you can observe your thoughts, but you also sense yourself as something separate from your thoughts, and it gives you such freedom. And then you can dive deeper into that. You can extend it to your, with the time you can develop the ability also to feel emotions without identifying with them. And this brings you lots of inner silence, because this ability of keep silent inside comes together with the ability of observing what is happening without identifying. You are less affected, even if you are exposed, let's say, to negative news or negative people or something like that. If you are mindful enough, I definitely cannot say about myself that I am mindful all the time up to the level where I would like to be. But if you are mindful, then you have this ability to not to identify with it, to either let it go, or in more advanced stages even to transform those energies. So, for example, you have this energy of negative news, and now you observe, you do not identify, and then you might decide, okay, now I decide for this energy to be transformed into love and kindness. And because of your decision, it gets transformed into love and kindness. So all those, but it starts with observation and non-identification.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I want to remind again that when we have these habitual reactions, that we react to things like a puppet, so ideas are using us, it appears in the beginning like a miracle, but it is actually a case that we can train that ability to remain silent. It is like a muscle. And
yes.
Only if we haven't used it for a longer term of time, we may forget this ability.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, exactly.
But it is actually simply something that we have to train, so to say. It is just another ability of the body, of the head brain, to perceive things in distance to itself or not. It's just another way of thinking.
Yes, and I want to add that when a person starts with this journey, in the beginning, this inner silence might be associated with boredom, because people actually entertain themselves by thinking all the time and by having all kinds of dreams, all kinds of daydreaming and stuff like that. It's a great entertainment. Now, when the person finally gets silent mind, it might be considered as something boring. But I can assure you that if you proceed with that, with those practices, you will see that there is lots of joy and lots of life in this silence. So it's just a matter of persisting and not giving up, when you have those silent moments, and your mind will initially might associate it with being bored. So just not to buy into that. It's just one of the tricks of the mind.
And what do you think if I say that at that moment it is like a challenge to make one step further? So if your mind is silent, if you have no thoughts in your head, then this is the best moment in order to listen to your heart and maybe calm down the emotion. So if you have achieved that with mindfulness, then maybe this step helps to achieve, let's say, calmness, lighter diet.
Yes, absolutely. All those things are related. All those things are absolutely related. Yeah. But when a person gets into those moments of silence, maybe for the first time in their lives, then the mind might start associated either with boredom or with dying or something like that. It may throw at you different fears, because there is this deeply rooted idea in many people that I think, it means that I exist.
Yes.
But here you don't think, so who are you? There. Okay, so, don't buy into that. Just go into that deeper, let all those fears pass, and if you persist with that, then you might discover something very unique in those moments.
Beautiful. This really motivates to go further, to go beyond this first doubt, let's put it like this.
Yes, exactly.
Now, I think this is enough of a first impression. Let's go further to topics that we haven't been paying attention much in the last talk, which is life purpose, the calling of life. And
yeah.
I want to come to that now because, as I look at this all, I ask myself, can it be that the foundation for mindfulness is life purpose? Because I feel like if I make the decision to transform any tension within myself, this decision is based on an intention. And this intention is something that, I somehow feel like it is a calling. So would you say that life purpose, life calling, is something that chronologically may be viewed is before mindfulness?
Before mindfulness, yes, I think that people have something inside that people who are on spiritual path, they have something inside that some kind of inner calling, and you would call it life purpose. You can call it life purpose, but life purpose that I meant in the last during our last conversation is a little bit different. Is more something is more your contribution to the world. You know, like how you could use your talents and your abilities in order to contribute to the world. You can look at it like that. So we might take this general subject, life purpose, and divide it into many things, including this inner calling to change, including this inner calling to discover something that is higher than you. But I can tell you that when you start cleansing on all levels and become more and more mindful and, clean up your diet and stuff like that, meditating, clean up your mind, then you will see that you can contribute, like something starts to shine there as your life mission. And this life mission would be in terms of service to the world. And that's what, and if you actually perform steps in order to, in the direction of this service to the world, using your particular skills and abilities, then you get from that lots of energy, lots of satisfaction, lots of happiness, and you just feel that you are on the right path.
Yeah, now please, if you have anything else to tell us about it, so introduce this whole topic of inner calling. In the first place, I would like to look, or what triggers me to look more into it, is the idea that we will get actually the right amount of energy according to the task that we have picked for ourselves. This is something that I observed on myself when 4 years ago, when I was introduced to all these practices about spirituality, I had that idea, the question in my mind, okay, how do I get more energy? It took me a few years until I understood by taking up a greater responsibility.
Yes, exactly. Now, yes, so, and usually people, first of all, when we talk about life purpose, we need to understand that it is something that gets more and more clear, like the picture, like the photograph. You know, as you cleanse, so your life purpose will shine more and more clearly. So, but even in the beginning, you can just see the general direction where you would like to go, and then try to actually perform practical, just to think in practical terms. In your current environment, what could you do in order to advance a little bit towards your life purpose, what could you do? And then you will see that if it is really aligned with your life purpose, you will get from that great wave of energy and enthusiasm, and basically, and then it's going to, for example, this subject of lightening up your diet is going to be much easier. And that's so I want to connect those two subjects here, because people start consuming more and more food when they lose their life purpose, when they don't do what they're supposed to be doing here. They compensate it by just eating. So once you discover your life purpose, at least in general terms, at least in the outline, and start doing something, at least small steps, you will see that this by itself fills you up with particular kind of energy that is better than the satisfaction that you get from eating even.
Very important, interesting. You get more clear and clear about the path, about the abilities which you have to walk that path, about the abilities to respond to that path. And there's a confirmation that it is actually your path. You get more energy.
Yes, exactly. So here, for example, so life purpose, in my opinion, is always related to service, like this kind of life purpose we are talking about, service to others, service to the world. And I think that because people nowadays like to complain that things in the world are bad and stuff like that. But I think that if each one of us really spreads light around us, according to what we can do, so instead of complaining, instead of getting all down, just spread the light all around, then the world will automatically be a much better place.
It is a question, if you receive that energy, what you are using it, for the society or for yourself? If you are using it for society, then you are using it for the greater good, not for yourself. And then it appears like you, to me right now, it appears like you, since you are using all the energy that you are giving for everyone else, you yourself will be supported by something else. So something as that I like to refer to as God or the source. So I want to say, here is kind of a magic happening. It appears like you are giving everything away, but yet at the same time, you're gaining more and more possibilities to discover actions in the world.
Yes, exactly.
And this
Yes, sorry. Okay, please continue.
I just wanted to finish. And this action is to serve the society. And on the contrary, when people, so to say, steal what is given to them for themselves and using this like for their ego or to build up some ideas that others serve them, they stop getting energy. So it is like, if you are useful, you will be supported. If you are not useful, it sounds very harsh. It sounds very harsh.
That's exactly like that. I can also see it very clearly. If you are useful, you are supported. Exactly. You couldn't say it better. If you are not useful, you are supported less. You are still supported because you do not die, but you are supported less in terms of the insights you get, in terms of the understanding about life, in terms of energy, in terms of many things. So we are when we are useful, we are supported. Now, being useful means, so here I just want to show how this life purpose thing is related to all the other aspects that we mentioned. So we said that when you find your life purpose and when you act according to that, you get lots of energy, so lots of satisfaction, so it is easier for you to lighten up your diet. Now, when you act according to your life purpose, you will, if you are a rational person, you will understand that you have to develop certain inner qualities in order to really to realize your life purpose better. qualities such as being tolerant towards others, being kind towards others, having good communication skills, your ability to convey the ideas. Maybe a person might decide that they need to learn languages. So many things. It will get clearer to you, and then you will for those things. For example, to be tolerant, to be compassionate, to be patient, to develop patience. You need lots of mindfulness also. So it is related to mindfulness. So all those things are interrelated, and so you cannot really act one thing without another thing.
That's a beauty actually here once again showing itself that it all also can only appear if it is interconnected. So we discover it step by step, but it all is always interconnected, and that appears like one single step.
Yes.
I want to support that idea, that thought, to look at the interconnection, and I just imagine this right now to myself. So first, we discover this call of life. Let's say the universe or God has entrusted us with energy for one certain step. And it is like a test. So we are giving energy, and then we are tested if we are using it for us or for someone else. If we are using it for us, we have an idea that we will get something in return. This already means that I'm attaching to one certain idea. It is not mindfulness, because I cannot receive several things simultaneously. If I'm using it for someone else, so if I'm giving it all according to the actual needs, then on the contrary, I'm connecting with people and I have to listen to their needs. This means if they want something else than what I want, I have to remain calm and be useful. This is a clear use of mindfulness, so why it is so important here.
Yes, exactly. And I can just say that many people, it's difficult for them to see how they can do something for others in their current environment, and therefore, and because of that, there is no change or very little change. So, but it is important to realize that we can always do something. We can always do something, especially now that we have the internet. We can connect to people. We can affect other people. We can share, because we can share our gifts with people, and of course, because we might have certain skill or certain understanding, and it looks obvious to us, but it's totally not obvious for another person, and then another person might need it. So if we make this YouTube video and put it online, then someone else might find it and might use our experience and might learn something from us. So this way we help others and we spread the light in the world. So right now, so what I want to say that right now, it's even easier to be useful than it was in the past with the internet. But the question, but also there are more distractions. So it's really important to really see what our life purpose is, at least in general terms, and to start really moving in this direction. Very little steps, but to do something towards that.
Yes, it is like a game, twofold game that can be dangerous for yourself as well, because if we rely too much on internet, then we will simply get used to that distance, like in a secure space where no one can have any effects on us. But on the other side, if you haven't developed one skill already, but you feel like this is now the time to develop it, then internet provides a very good opportunity to, from a secure space to test yourself out or develop that.
Yeah, like I'm like, in terms of myself, I have learned so much from the internet because of the kindness of others who wanted to share it. So yeah, and of course, the optimal would be if we lived in a kind of a community of like-minded people, and just maybe face-to-face communication. But in practical terms, for many of us now would be more so the internet is just one of the tools using which people can affect other people and bring positive changes in the world. Because if we don't, so there should be two lines of work, basically, two lines of work. The first line of work is on yourself, on your mindfulness, so lightening up your diet, building your inner strength, your inner energy. So that's one line of work. And the other line of work would be just spreading your light all around, helping others.
And when you know what your life purpose is, you will, and you like it, of course, because this is what is calling you, this is what is giving you energy,
Absolutely.
then you will also adapt your life at it, which means you will try to find a diet that is, so to say, light and at the same time effective, so that you can also execute or perform this service.
Yes, exactly. You will try to find the correct diet. You will try to develop the correct qualities of your character, for example, of your personality. You will, skills that you will need for that. Yeah, it will just affect all the aspects of your life. Absolutely.
Now, the last topic of these parts which are working together is social skills. And we will have in 5 minutes, like a short break, about 5 minutes. And I suggest we give a short intro to that topic, social skills, and go deeper into it afterwards.
Okay.
So, yes, please introduce it to us.
Basically, social skills is just your ability to talk to other people, to connect to other people. And it's not black and white. It's just we are all somewhere. It's a very, very important skill in life if we want to shine our light, because obviously we will be related to other people, and so we just need to learn how to do that, and to practice it, preferably on a daily basis in our daily life, by listening to others, by contacting other people, for example, by spotting like-minded people, whether it's on Facebook or some other places, and trying to, get in touch with them if it is important to you. So it's pretty much what it says, just social skills, communication skills.
I think right now that it is also a game that can be twofold, dangerous as well. Because on one side, I have only one skill, which means to listen to society. So they can tell me how I can be useful, and where am I needed. And therefore they will teach me different skills. So it is like, I have the ability to listen, but they are telling me the stories that I, so to say, can be supporting.
Okay.
So it is not only from one side. This is very interesting. Again, because it also shows that we are already interconnected, and responsibility doesn't mean that I simply give up something and receive nothing in return. What I receive is the freedom of action in certain situations.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Even, by the way, even sending kindness on the energy level towards a person is an act of social skill and communication. So it's there are many aspects in that. Yeah.
That's very important actually in society. If you speak with someone, being mindful at that moment of speech, in order to understand that you are speaking with an emotion of love.
Yes.
Which is not creating further tensions.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. You can even put the intention into your words, that in addition to the meaning, they transfer the energy of love. Transfer the energy of love to another person. Like you can even do that. Transfer the energy of love and kindness. So the very vibration, you just put the energy there in order to help that other person. And then there is a chance that even your speech by itself will become a kind of a therapy for another person.
That's like the ultimate service, because when all these separated parts, like food, life purpose, mindfulness, when they are resonating together, then there is no abstraction between my work and the other's perception. It is like the ultimate service, because it is like two people are merging into one. I want to say it is like
you might look at it this way, definitely. Yeah.
I want to say there is much love, because you need to become close with each other at that moment.
Yes. Yeah, and it's not, and it is something to be worked on, because we need to develop it, because oftentimes we find ourselves with people who might push our buttons and annoy us, and people who even live with us in the same space. So it's definitely one of the mindfulness practices, how you do that, despite of all the buttons that are being pushed, how you remain in this loving state. It's a challenge. I cannot say about myself that I am there, like on the level where I would like to be, but when you practice mindfulness, that's definitely one of the areas to work on.
We are definitely everyone where we should be, and it is our potential to realize how perfect everything is. Okay, let's now make a short break. As usual, I will play the video, and you can mute yourself or just
okay.
Not.
No problem. I'm going to mute myself.
Exactly. Okay, and we are back. I would definitely like to invite you another time, because it is really something that I find as the main message that I want to share and I want to observe even deeper. I feel that there is much more to be discovered when we do not practice or execute one action separately from other actions, like mindfulness not separated from food, or food not separated from emotions, or social skills not separated from our life purpose. That only when it is a holistic approach,
yes,
that we have no ego that participates in this story, because we experience simply the flow.
Yeah.
And this is the core of what I'm actually also doing. And if you don't mind, I want to share an example shortly.
Sure.
Here we have an example, the programs that I have in my mind. So on the left side, we see the different steps, where we can see 9 different steps. Starts with liberation of death, liberation of time, space, and form. I want to take into account these first 4, because what I came to realize is that when I have an interest, then this interest, so I decide that I find something that is interesting me in my life, something that is calling for realization through me. And then as I start to redirect my attention at that, another step begins, where with my head brain, I start recognizing information that I can understand. And as soon as I understand that information in my head brain, biochemistry starts to rearrange itself into emotions. And then thoughts turn into emotions. And on the next step, on the 4th step, these emotions, which I now can recognize in the space around me, they turn into actions. So these are the main homeostatic functions I want to say. Thinking, breathing, digestion, sexuality, connection with God, and we can find them all over different other practices. And I was thinking, as I said, I made this discovery about 2 or 3 years ago when I started to practice that. And I was thinking, because it is really for me like, this is what you're speaking about. That's exactly what I want to pay attention to even more. And I was thinking, I want to bring up an example, but I don't want to name teachers which are doing it right now in our modern day times, because it's like it's their label. They are using their culture, their words. Someone is using prana, someone is using psychology. And so I was thinking about whom to choose, because there are really many people. And I have found such a topic. It is called trivium. The word trivium itself means the place where three roads meet. I was waiting here to see some history from when this word came from. It comes
Yes.
from Greece, and it has like a few millennia, I believe, like at least 1 millennia. And the main thing that I want to point out is this is a method of learning. And it was taught that when you understand the grammar and combine it with logic and with rhetoric, so these are also different functions of the body which are brought together, and therefore if you bring them together you understand or you can learn the best way. But it goes
Yes.
even further, because this trivium, the word tri means three, and there are these three main examples, word topics. They are a part actually of a quadrivium where these first three connects with another four: arithmetic, geometric, musical, and astronomy. So they say if you take these three topics and combine them with these four, you have a holistic, a big view on how things are working. And in liberal arts, it is again about education. So it is about how to learn, how to get in contact with the world.
Mm-hmm.
This is an example that it's also very important if we want to understand how nature works, because we have to reply to that nature according to their laws. Everything is possible that we want to do, every step that we want to realize, but we have to understand what the laws of the nature are, how our bodies working, how our food can get lighter, how it is affecting our thinking, our behavior, and how our social skills are working.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So we just need to tap into the interconnectedness of things, and but it's a process. So we just have to start from somewhere, and as we move, if we move in the right direction, then we discover more and more and more things. Absolutely.
This is exactly what I would like to ask you. Is there like a chronology? Because I'm speaking clearly for myself about chronology. Thoughts become emotions, emotions become actions. But you said right now, you can tap, the main thing is that you tap into this field, that you tap into this resonance, that you get the taste of all of it working together, and then you find the right direction for yourself. So I want to ask, is there a right chronology how to start this encounter of the holistic process, or is it the main thing that you simply start?
I think it's very, very individual. You never know what is going to bring a person onto this path. But I want to elaborate about this subject of life purpose. For example, a good question would be it's not really in relation to chronology, but in relation to seeing more clearly what your life purpose is. So the good question, which I mentioned also the last time, is what would I do in my life if I had all the resources available? Like if I don't need to worry never about money, about funding, about food, about whatever, about housing, about anything. Like what would I do? What would I do with my life? If you really, really meditate on this question, really like sit with yourself, really like think deeply about it, really, even deeper than thinking, just looking into that, then there is a chance that you will start understanding the main idea. For example, we might have a girl and she's asking herself this question, and the answer that pops up would be, I would love to see it, I would really love to help raise very good and sane children and beautiful children, to really, because she might think, okay, I see that the educational system now is so suppressive, and parents don't have enough knowledge about their children, they don't listen to their children. I would like to change it. Oftentimes it really comes from your heart, something that you would like to change in the world, but not in terms of criticism that you become all negative, but just in terms of this positive urge just to change, to contribute. So she might think, okay, so this is my field, okay, and she doesn't know yet exactly what kind of on practical level, whether she's going to found a company of advice to parents, or whether she's going to open a very, very special kindergarten, or just to build an internet site with information or write books. She might not know it, but she feels that this is the urge that I have in me. This is my calling, and then immediately she will feel great wave of joy, great wave of, like when you contact something that was very, very dear to you, but you contact it, you get in touch with that, very, very intimate, and then from that point she might think, okay, so what can I do now? First of all, how can I advise to families if I don't have a family? She might think, I don't even have a boyfriend, or I don't even have family myself, or I don't even have good relationships with my parents. So how can I even help others if I don't have it myself? So she might think, okay, so first I would like to improve my relationships with my parents. Okay, and then she says, okay, how can I do that? And then she will understand, okay, I'm always impatient when my mom says that, so I need to work on patience. So things like that, it's all interconnected, but you ask yourself this question: what would I do if I had all the funding in the world and everything in the world? What would I do in my life? You go very, very deep into this question, and then you get the answer, and if it's the right answer, you will get the emotional response. And from there, you might build practical steps, either in terms of what you have to do in the external world in order to, little by little, to get closer to that, or to bring that into existence, or in terms of your inner world, in terms of your inner qualities, what kind of qualities you need to develop in order to get closer to that. So here we do have some kind of sequence, so hopefully it answers your question.
The main thing is that we all have our individual path. Where
Yes.
in our life we can utilize the different tools, so our calling, the right energy, the right diet, in order to realize it, the right state of mindfulness. This is probably the question. In that regard, I would say that we cannot miss the moment when we have to execute our calling, to respond to our calling. We can only respond to it too late or too early, and therefore make it not as beautiful as it is maybe purely.
Okay, yeah, it might be. And yeah, and also what I wanted to say is that, usually, like, we might have many different callings, each one of us, but the basic skills that are needed for each one of those callings, if it's a real good calling in terms of contributing to others, contributing to the society, building the better world, you will need pretty much the same qualities. Like, I'm not talking about particular fields of knowledge, but you will need to develop love and compassion up to a certain level. You will have to develop mindfulness up to a certain level, because if you are affected by everything, you will not be able to advance. That's very important thing in relation to mindfulness and how it's related to your life purpose. You might know what you want, but if someone says something to you, or something happens, and if you get depressed because of that for 2 weeks or for 5 days, and you are paralyzed for those 5 days in terms of your ability to do something, then how can you really advance towards your life purpose? So here, where the mindfulness comes in. So pretty much we need the same skills. We need particular amount of energy, particular amount of enthusiasm in order to move forward, particular amount of emotional mastery. So things like that. So here, we might have different life callings, but there is also a lot in common if we really, really want to serve this world.
I actually agree totally with you. You are right. There is not one single calling in our life, one single purpose, because everything in our life is alive. It is calling, can give us energy. And if we listen to it properly, if we mature with our abilities to be mindful, if we train all these abilities, then we can discover many purposes, many ways of services. It's not only
Right.
one that we will
Yes.
miss if we do not like perfectly. So in that
Yes,
sense,
yes, exactly. Mhm.
in that sense, I just wanted to say thank you very much. You have to go right now.
Soon, yes, yes. So,
You have now a little bit more time. Okay.
about 5 minutes, yeah.
Okay. And what I would like to point out then, right after this, is that the idea that there is, like you mentioned, that there is something that is hindering me from surrendering to this calling, whatever it might be right now, is the idea of authority. That there is someone who is kind of like the author, the writer of my story. But this whole experience begins actually with the point that it is me who is experiencing it all and not someone else. So not parents, not like, friends or some kind of advertisement.
Yes. It is important to kind of a little bit disconnect from other influences of other people and from the expectations of other people, and to really, really look inside of yourself. And actually, when you apply those principles that we were talking about, lightening up the diet, mindfulness, all those things, they kind of they help you be less programmed, just think more independently, being in touch with your inner core, with your inner self. So yeah, so it all works together,
Thank you. Let us, in the last few minutes, pay attention at how to connect with you if people are interested in. I'm showing now on the screen your YouTube channel, where people can find more videos about raw change, and to introduce your channel on YouTube
Yes. So first of all, I have a YouTube channel in English called Raw Change, where I started when I was in the realm of raw foods. Right now I am on liquids. I have been on a liquid diet for quite a long time, around 9 months. So I also talk about that and about different subjects like spirituality and self-development and other things. So that's one thing. Another thing, I provide coaching for donations. And for donations, I actually mean it. You don't have, you can pay or not pay as much or as little as you want. And we address different subjects, exactly those subjects. How to lighten up the diet, life purpose, how to apply what you see when you ask yourself this question about your life purpose, and when you came to the particular conclusion, then how to apply it in life. So that's another thing, and I'm going to put my email. Actually, on my channel, Raw Change, there is my email below the video, so you can just people who are interested, they can just email me describing in short their personal story, why they would like to receive this coaching and things like that. And the last thing, I also manage an international WhatsApp fasting group. We fast for 24 hours every week between Friday and Saturday, and it's free. And for that, if anyone wants to join this fasting group, they have to send me a WhatsApp message to the number that I will also provide. And probably you will be able to find it below this video or on my channel, below the videos on my channel. And then, so because this habit of weekly fasting, between around 24 hours weekly fasting, is a very, very good habit for everything, pretty much. It teaches you a lot. If you abstain from food for 24 hours every week, you will learn a lot about yourself, about life, about many, many things. And you also become healthier. So so people can fast. We have people who fast dry fast, without water, without food, without anything. We have people who fast on water, who fast on teas and juices. So it's very open-minded group. And the idea is to create this community spirit. We have webinars, we have different inspiring posts, WhatsApp posts, and it's lots of fun. Lots of fun. We are all synchronized, people from all over the world, in the spirit of unity, peace and love, fasting together.
Yes, thank you very much. We have been speaking about the big picture, but next time actually I would love to invite you to dive into details. So for example, speaking about one particular topic, for example, fasting, which we both are very familiar with.
Yes. Okay, so I want to thank you, Igor, for organizing this meeting, and also I really want to thank to all the listeners for their time, and I hope that we were useful to them. This information and this kind of activity is going to be useful for the people. Thank you.
Okay, goodbye. Have a nice time.
You too. Bye-bye. See you. Bye-bye.